And I didn't realise prior to that conversation that he'd come out as part of an intelligence building that Bob Hawke underwent when he was Prime Minister. He actually brought 20 internationals from all over the world who came with technical expertise. And we were lucky enough to have Tony living in our backyard here. He lived in Clifton Springs, so he was one of the 20 who actually stayed way beyond the Hawke years, and he brought with him, one of the things he brought was Bokashi, which was a Japanese food waste management system. And so then we sort of sought out where we could buy the buckets from now, and he started to say, Anne, you need to be doing this, and you need to be telling people they need to be doing it. And I went, hang on, I'm not doing anything until I find out how this all works. And so over the years, we've sort of developed, and I'll just put that in front of you if that's okay. So we found the buckets, and unfortunately we're still waiting for those to come out of customs at the moment. So they're just a square bucket, which is similar to these ones. But these are the plastic's a little bit less robust, I believe. And so the others should be around soon. So it's got a little base. So it's a bit like a worm farm, if you've ever gone into the worm farming concept. Oh, okay. So this is what it looks like, or similar to this. And the way you start it off is to put a little bit of the mix. That's a little bit old, so it doesn't have much of a smell. It usually smells a little bit stronger than that, and I might open one of the other bags to smell. Oh, yeah. It's a fermented smell, and you just put a little bit on the base to start it off, so it just tiny amount, that's all, right? So that's all you need to do. And embedded in the grain are microbes. And the way that you use it is to not touch your stuff while you're doing this. And I have a lot of veggies somewhere, of veggies, there they are. Yep. So it's just a matter of every time you've got some veggies or some meat or some whatever else, to just cut them up a little bit more. And the reason I cut them up a little bit more is so that the fluid that's formed through the fermentation of the veggies, or the product that you put in there, that it doesn't cool in it. So with that bit, I just sort of cut that a couple more times so that the fluid that ferments doesn't cool in there. And I might put a couple of little, if I was doing it on a chopping board it would be easier, but just put that in there. I've got those bigger bits I might cut a bit more, as I said before. And then put a little handful, a spoonful of the stuff on top. And that's it. That's it. And that's it. I have had a bucket full that had been fermenting for about, I don't know, 8 months, and I could still put my hand in there, and I think Karen saw it maybe the other morning, because I did a little demo for the Harvest Basket people, but it still feels like veggies. So in the bucket it still feels like veggies even after 8 months. Oh. You know how you cut up veggies and put them on the container on the sink, and after about a day it goes all slimy and yucky. Well, this actually sort of ferments it, but it doesn't lose its qualities almost. So it just ferments happily, and until you put it into the soil. Once it goes into the soil, then it actually becomes part of the soil within a month.
Oh wow. Unreal.
That's smiling at you.
So you can keep adding.
You can keep adding to it. So you put that in and then you can scrunch it down. I don't usually do the scrunching down, I usually cut it up a bit more finely to begin with. And just keep scrunching it down. And depending upon what you've put in there, depends upon how long it actually takes for juice to come. So it's actually the juice that you're wanting to put on your veggies, so it can be diluted down, sort of like worm castings. It can be diluted down 1 to 1,000, so it's very potent. You can sprinkle it on the vegetation or on the roots, but once you've diluted it, because it is very strong, and if you put it straight onto the veggies, it would try to ferment the veggies.
Oh.
So don't do that.
So when can you put?
So once you've diluted it, it's fine. So 1 to 1,000 is fine, because that's a very dilute solution, but that's
1 mil to 1,000 mils.
Yeah. So that's a sort of couple of teaspoons to a bucket. It's very, very...
To a bucket, 10 litre bucket.
Yeah.
So 10 mils to 10 mils.
Yes. Yeah.
So what sort of, can you put fruit scraps as well?
Yep. So fruit's fantastic. Citrus, just cut them up so that, I was actually going to bring a mandarin, but just cut it up a little bit so it doesn't pull, or squish it down so that it, once again, doesn't pull.
Yep.
So how long before then you can take the inside out of the bucket and put it in the garden?
So, depending upon what you want. So, the longer you leave it in here, the more fluid it'll produce.
Will the fluid get stronger or better, or at any
It
stage
just gets more.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily get stronger or better because it's actually below the ledge there, so it just pools there.
So I guess it depends on what type of scraps you're putting in, because some are more fluid based than others.
Correct.
You know, like your hard vegetables aren't going to produce much.
So during winter, if you had sort of veggies like that, or cabbage or whatever else, it would take a number of weeks for fluid to produce. But with fruit scraps like cantaloupe and apple and watermelon things and blah blah. When I did, Dad turned 80, so that was 6 years ago. When I was doing for his 80th birthday, I did a number of fruit platters for his birthday party, so I filled the bucket in one go.
Yeah.
But in between sort of platefuls, I put the scrap, the grain, and within a week I had fluid.
Yeah.
Yep.
So because it was just full of fruity type bits. But I've had people report back to me that it's taken a number of weeks for them to actually develop fluid during winter because of the stuff they've been putting in there. Yep. I have put in bones. We don't put in many bones because we usually give them to the dog, but I have put in bones. I have put in fish. When we'll get to when we were starting to set up a garden, but we bought some, Tony wanted to put in the garden that we made, some fish meal, and I couldn't find fish meal, and I still haven't found fish meal, but anyway, so we sort of made our version of fish meal. So we had stuff from the fishmonger in Mortimer Street when he was there. I went and bought a bag of fish bones and stuff that he used to pay to have taken away. I bought it for him. And got some tuna bait roll stuff from the fish shop to go fishing with, sort of thing. So burley type, it was a great big roll. And anyway, we went to dig the garden and it was way too tough, so we had to get a bobcat in to help us. And when we were setting it all up, because he wanted to put layers of bokashi and then layers of fish meal and all sorts of different things in between it. And so I bought this stuff. Anyway, it defrosted, and then I thought, what the hell am I going to do with it now? And so what I did was I froze it again, and it wasn't until a really hot day when I sort of wasn't doing anything else, and I thought, well, I brought out this refrozen fishy yucky stuff, and I actually carved it with my saw, and then layered it with the grain quite heavily, because I didn't know whether my family were going to divorce me or what was going to happen in the end, because I really didn't have a clue how it was going to work. There was a little bit of a smell for half a day, but by the end of the day, it had actually become as absorbed, and it actually started to ferment that, and so I really didn't have a problem. So I then let it sit for a while, and then used it as we built the garden. So just a handful of that sort of spread all the way through, but it was quite heavily laden, quite a thick layer to make sure that it wasn't selling. I have had people who've put prawns in their bucket and they would never do that again, but I don't think they actually put enough stuff on top of it. So with veggies and with fruit, there's absolutely no hassle, just the tiniest amount is enough, but with sort of smelly protein-based products, I suppose, you need to actually just put a bit more on it.
So can you put eggshells and things like that in?
Yeah. I've put corn cobs, I've put avocado pips, I've put eggshells, I've put anything that sort of comes out of the kitchen has gone into there. So yeah, without an issue at all. So so that's that.
How often would you change the cake if the bucket's full?
So if once the bucket's full, then the grainy mixture actually does what it's supposed to do best in the garden.
Oh, okay.
So dig a hole and bury it, and it'll actually produce the super soil.
Yeah.
Start again.
So and then start again. But it's you juggling whether you've got enough juice to put on your garden, because it's the juice that's really quite potent and very usable. So it's a matter of just getting to juggle that. You can decant the juice and put it in a cupboard, so in a dark cupboard, because it is photosensitive.
How long would it last in there?
Well, I had some. I should have brought some with me, but I had to sell my other bucket, so I don't have any at the moment. But you could see during one of these sessions, you could actually see it oxidise. So it actually went from an orangey golden colour to a browny colour, even during one of the last one of these I ran. So it oxidises quite quickly in the light.
So you keep it in a
Yep.
in
Just
a
keep it in the dark
pantry,
cupboard.
not in the fridge.
Yeah, not in the fridge, just in a cool dark cupboard, and then just use it as you need to. So that's the juggling part of the session. And then this was just sort of photos of what I did and what it sort of looked like. And that's the colour of the juice that's produced.
Awesome.
So, and it is potent, but I find it a pleasant smell. It's sort of just a fermenting smell, sort of a miso soup sort of
So you
smell.
can't really drink it.
You can't really drink it. Well, yeah, you probably could, but I haven't.
So put that on your garden now. You
Yeah.
don't put anything else on your
I
garden?
don't no, I'm not good at that.
So you just use that.
I just use
So
that.
you don't buy Dunnes liquor or anything.
No, not at all. Hang on, I'm not there yet. I'm running a session too. So yeah, so I don't do any of that, and I did try composting, and I have tried worm farming, and I just can't do them. I can't get them to actually work properly for me. So, but I can do this.
One
so,
more question.
Yes.
The cake thing, when you want to empty it and start again,
Yeah.
can you give it to the chooks or not?
Yes, you can give it to the
They're
kids.
not
They'll
gonna-
love it. They'll love it.
They'll love it.
Yeah.
Not going
No,
to kill them?
there's no.
Cool.
It's all natural
Oh,
stuff
well,
in it.
that's good
So
to
no,
hear.
there's no. And supposedly dogs will eat it as well. But your chooks will love it.
Oh, good. That's
Yeah,
good.
So that's no issue at all. Because
So the buckets that are on the docks,
yes,
they're much bigger than
A
that.
little bit. Hi.
Sorry to interrupt.
Hey,
Do you know where the scouts meet at all?
yeah, across the road.
Across the road?
Yeah, just behind the craft shop.
Great. Thanks for your
No
help.
worries.
See ya.
Yeah, so they're just square. They're a little bit taller, but a little bit narrower.
So do you need to put them in a cool, dark place?
You don't need to put the bucket in a cool, dark place. I just keep that in the kitchen or near the kitchen.
Oh, you keep it inside?
Yeah, I keep it inside.
Yeah, it
so
doesn't
that
smell.
it's-
That's the thing. That's
It
why it's so
doesn't.
good.
It honestly
smell.
doesn't smell at all.
Oh,
So I just keep it inside, so it's
That's
really
good.
easy
Really
just to do
accessible.
that
Yeah.
and put a
I'll
little
put
bit
it
of
in
rain
the
on it
laundry.
and it's ready.
On top
Yeah.
of the washing machine. Just,
Yeah.
I've got a front loader.
Mm.
But
So
that's
it's
good. I
easy
like
just
that.
to keep it inside. Yeah, and then it's just making a good product for you, and it's happy and you're happy. And
Once the bucket is full, and can you add more of that brown
you can
stuff?
keep adding to it
Yeah.
if you keep pushing it
Washing
down.
machine.
But once it's full, and if
Full,
you've
yeah.
decanted some stuff and got that in your cupboard
You want to
happily,
start off.
then you
yeah,
start
okay,
again.
cool.
So you just dig a hole or
Yeah.
put it somewhere in the garden where you can cover it over, because the microbes will then
Yeah.
go to work in
Cool.
the soil. That's where they're really, really happy.
You could bury
And,
it all around the perimeter of fruit trees. I love that.
So on the edge,
Yeah,
so
on the
on the
perimeter.
very
Yeah, the
perimeter
perimeter.
of your leaves, yeah, that would be fine.
Yeah.
That would be fine. Or dig a hole and put it in, let it do its thing in a hole for about a month, and then it will become a super soil, and then
Yeah,
use
put
the
it in your
soil to
veg
put it wherever you want.
Yeah. Cool, I like it. That's
So,
good.
handy inside, you can just take
What about
from the,
yeah, table and put them in.
yeah.
rhubarb leaves and stuff?
I
Nah,
probably
that's a no,
wouldn't do
isn't it?
rhubarb
It's a
leaves.
very
I'm
poisonous.
probably not leaves.
Yeah.
I mean, veggie leaves that you
Yeah.
eat.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
that's
Like
different.
carrot
And
leaves and things.
I haven't. Yeah.
Okay.
White carrot leaves. Please. Sorry.
Carrot, you know,
Yeah.
stems
So
of
carrot
carrots.
stems, I think, would be fine.
Yeah.
But I haven't put
And onion skins.
like I have done onion skins,
Oh,
all that
that's
sort of
all
stuff. They're no,
Yeah.
they're no problem. So stuff you peel and eat. I mean, apart from rhubarb leaves, I haven't
Yeah.
done that.
That's the no-no.
And I didn't do tomato trusses and stuff
Yeah,
like that. I
leaves,
haven't put those in
Yeah.
because I don't eat them and I haven't put them in there.
You don't
I
eat tomatoes.
did try. Well, I eat tomatoes, but not the stalky bits.
Yeah.
So you'll see when we were growing them. So what Tony suggested, if you wanted to reuse the bucket again, you could actually put it in a bag and tie that up for a month and let it do its own thing. But then eventually he talked to me and said, well, you're better off just to put it straight into the garden bed and let it do its own thing there. And this was the first time I emptied it out, and my husband wasn't really happy about that because that was right near the front door. So anyway, then we started to build the garden bed.
Oh wow,
Probably not easy to see.
that's cute.
So, and we did that out the front, and he wasn't happy about that either. But poor kid. And so that's Tony, who you may or may not have seen around. He's just moved into Geelong now. And we layered the bed with some Bokashi liquid to begin with. And he pretended that it was a little poo. And just sort of layered, you'll eventually see there's the Bokashi
cool.
product, just putting
Yeah,
that
that's
through.
not bad soil.
Yeah,
The fairly sandy or what?
it was very sandy.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we sort of built it up. And then we covered we covered it over while in between filling it in, so that as we were building up the garden bed, if we didn't, wherever we got to on a particular day, we then covered it over with that, so that I'm not really sure why, but we did that. Yeah. That's just more. going the right way. And then we watered it in with some Bokashi liquid, and we just kept going, and I kept making Bokashi, and we kept covering it. And then we sort of built it up, and we actually put in feeder tubes all the way through the garden bed. So we had, I don't know, they were about 3 feet long, I suppose, and there was thinner drill holes that I made down the bottom, and then thicker ones as we went up. And so once we'd actually planted the garden bed, I then fed right down to the bottom of the garden bed through that.
What's the white stuff?
I don't know what that is. I think that's just the colour of part of the dirt or something.
Yeah.
That was a bit grey. It wasn't anything in particular.
Oh, okay.
So, and this is just some of the garden that we produced. So I wasn't active enough culling the shoots as they came off the tomato plants. So they actually grew very, very...
Basil, isn't it?
There was basil in between the tomatoes,
Awesome. Good idea. I like that.
And
Hello.
that ended up... they ended up prolific, and I ended up culling the stalks back to a third, and I just had this mountain of green, and we had 10 layers of tomatoes,
That's cool.
which I thought was fantastic. The corn was great as well. And this was the second garden bed that we planted, and I planted it out. The first ones that I had the tomatoes there, and I had to do that in stages, but the second one I actually did in one fell swoop. And I actually planted 405 little seedlings in that on the one day, and within 3 weeks I had zucchinis coming on the zucchini bush. So I sort of timed all that. It was over summer while I wasn't doing anything else, and it was a garden bed about 15, probably about 10 metres long.
Wow.
And
I can't believe the corn in your backyard.
Yeah. So we
I've tried to grow corn.
oh right.
So it's better, do you think, to put these tubes in, Anne, or just use the watering can?
Well, you can use both. Well, I use both, but I actually fed down to the roots because we were sort of developing the garden bed. I actually watered right down to the roots as well as fed over all of them. And it was during the has it got a year? Must be a photo with a year on it. It was during the middle of the drought, which was another reason why I did it, because I was on 2 school councils, and the other thing Tony said was if we build up the organics in the top layer of the soil, it will actually help to capture the night dew. So even during the drought, there was still dew forming to some extent, and the 2 schools that I was working with, they couldn't afford the watering bills to pay for the new ovals they'd set up. And so it was just a test to see if we could actually get this product to actually help to build up the organics as well.
Oh, interesting.
So with enough people working on it, it could work. So it was 2008. I actually did a bit of a test in our occasional care over a couple of weeks, because I thought, well, if that's what I'm doing, I should actually test it. So I tried to take photos in the same spots, and that was sort of after a week, because that was the 16th to the 22nd. There was actually a marked difference.
So what do you do there? You just spray them?
Well, I was filling a rubbish bin, the narrow rubbish bins, I think 110 litres.
Oh, yeah.
So I was sort of putting whatever, a cupful or something of the Bokashi liquid, and then just dipping it out over the grass.
Oh, really?
And just had quite a significant difference during the couple of weeks that I was doing that before I went back before we went back to work and the kids came back.
That's nice.
Yeah. So it was significant.
It really,
and
yeah.
then
All the patches are just about gone.
yeah. So it was just, you know, it was just every night I'd come up and just do a bit. So it sort of, some patches took better than others, but it was good.
Cool.
So I did try to clean a pool with it as well. Now I haven't got anything else. But the other thing that I did was I actually liaised with the City of Greater Geelong guy who was in charge of the grasses on the ovals. And because I was doing the work here, and Tom O'Connor said to me, why don't you actually blah 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 with the City of Greater Geelong? And I went, no. Anyway, so he contacted the guy and I contacted the guy, and eventually he came round to my house. And you could see when he arrived, he thought, this is another crackpot I'm having to deal with.
No.
And within an hour, he'd actually bought a bucket. So, because what I'd done was I'd actually taken photos of weighing the seed. I'd actually marked out little test beds that were 1 metre by 1 metre, and I'd actually put the same amount of grain into the test beds, and actually done a control with sort of just water and, you know, some with Bokashi underneath and some with Bokashi I was using. And anyway, he just went, no, that's pretty good. So we sort of still haven't quite got it to the point that we could actually cover an oval, because we just don't quite have enough people doing it. But that was a long-term plan, and the droughts broken and stuff like that. But it's sort of still, I think, a good long-term plan.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like it.
So that sort of shows you, and that's why then I started to talk about it, because of the good results that we'd had, and just the I suppose just the amount of fun that we'd had as well, just enjoying and knowing that it was all natural, and he actually taught me to make. I haven't told this to other people before, but he actually taught me how to make an insecticide using the liquid as well, with chilies and garlic in it.
Chilies and garlic?
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
So just don't touch your eyes after you've put it on, that's all. And that just helped to keep insects, and not using something that was horrendously carcinogenic to us all and stuff like that. So it was all just really basic and healthy. So yes. So that's Bokashi stuff. So yeah, we've been doing it here probably for it'd be at least 7 years, and with lots of good success. I've really not had anybody come back to me and hit me over the head with it or anything like that. In winter, depending upon where you've got it, you might end up with some moisture forming on the lid. So what we decided to do in that case was just to put an echo or something on top of it, just so that it kept the moisture from the actual product. So just depending upon where you've got it. If it does start to grow any white mould, that's okay. But if it goes a different colour, then we probably need to empty that bucket and start again. And because that means it started to actually decompose. Yeah, so the white mould's okay, but once you start to do that, it's probably a good idea to dig the hole anyway and put it out and get started again. When you do empty it out, you just wash it out with water and then put it out in the sun, and the rays of the sun will actually sterilise it for you. So there's just no soap or anything needed to go there. So it's just water, and that's happy. And that's probably me.
Wow. Thank you.
So how much of it, sorry, Rebecca,
No, go.
how much of a big bucket?
So they're 65 and they should be here in the next, hopefully, couple of days.
And the fermenting.
And that's part of the kit. So the
Oh,
kit's
right.
actually $65 to get you started. And then these are $7.50. And there's actually bigger bags of that as well for $15, which is
Once this bag is open, just put it in your airtight.
So once it's open, I just decant it into those. That's probably been in that for a significant amount of time because it was right up the back of the cupboard, and I just wanted to get one down to show you what it was like. But yeah, just decant it into coffee jars or into something that is airtight.
Yep, that's good.
Wow.
I'll just get started.
Well, I was going to basically ask what you were going to ask.
Yeah. So it's as I say, I haven't had any problems. We've actually got them in 5 schools, I think. So Drysdale's got 3 of the 3 big bins. I'll show you those.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
just I like the fact that you can keep it inside.
I'm trying to work out who this lady is. I think I know. It's got chill on the top. See it?
So this is so Drysdale Primary School's got 3 of those. We've got 2 out at Birregurra, 4 I think we've got at St Joseph's.
Are they
And
expensive?
they're more expensive and they're really hard to manage.
Yeah, because you can't
So,
put them on anything.
It's okay for the schools because they go through so much in a lunchtime or something like that, but I wouldn't ever recommend those to a family.
Yeah.
This is much more manageable.
Yeah.
So
This is
that's
more-
65 there.
That one's 45.
Right.
So, so up to you whether you want to have a bash at that.
Yeah. And it comes with the powder or...
And it does come with the powder and
Yeah,
everything. I mean, you can
and
come
the
with a
powder.
starter kit. Even some veggies included if you want. But,
So the other one's more solid.
the other one's a little bit more solid and a
Yeah.
little bit more flexible, this
Yeah.
bit.
But where did
So-
you put it?
I put mine in the laundry. That's where
I
I'm
don't
going.
have the room, but I've got room for a bucket.
So the other one, it's not much different, but anyway, you have you know.
I think I'd stick mine in the garage. Personally. But I have internal access to my garage.
Yeah,
So that's okay. I mean, but it, you know, have a think about it or whatever and blah, blah, blah.
Otherwise on the decking, underneath.
Probably better inside so
Yeah,
that it
because
doesn't
of
have a
sun.
variation of temperature
Ah.
because the variation in temperature may actually cause the moisture to come out and it'll probably you'd be less likely maybe to
Okay.
actually feed it.
So our laundry is very cool.
Yeah, so that's alright.
And
So
my
it's
laundry
alright.
is hot as hell.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
My
Mine's the
garage.
opposite.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, it's a matter of having a play and see what happens.
Cool.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, I'll buy it back from you. So,
It sounds excellent.
I'll start off with one and I'll see how it goes. I might
Okay.
start a second.
but
That's good.
but yeah, so.
That's good.
Is there any don'ts you can't do with the juice? Or
I have tried it on natives,
oh yeah.
and to begin with, it was very positive, and I'm not sure that whether my lack of attention and the drought and blah blah blah,
Yeah.
I ended up with not having them. Because I had it on kangaroo paw and it was really quite happy to begin with. But
Oh yeah.
but long term, I'm not sure. Because natives don't really need the feeding and stuff like that, I'm not sure whether I overfed it and it wasn't happy with me or I ignored it and it wasn't happy with me.
What about, we've got a whole lot of seagrass, seaweed stuff from the beach. Can you put that in there or nah?
Yeah, I probably
no.
wouldn't do that.
It's very
But-
salty.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But I
Just sort of
probably, yeah, I mean, you just put that on your garden
We
anyway.
do,
don't you?
yeah, we've got it everywhere.
Yeah.
So lettuce, excess lettuce is okay.
Lettuce would be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, lettuce would be fine.
That's cool.
Because we have
Yeah.
herbs
Alright.
Yeah. Just don't put mouldy things in. So mouldy
Oh,
things
okay.
just throw out.
Yeah.
Because the mould will actually turn the bucket mouldy
Right.
and actually cause it to
What about rotten bananas? No?
No.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
don't put rotten things in. Sort of just, you know,
Yeah.
put that wherever else you want to put it. Give your
Oh, okay, so
mouldy bananas
banana
to your tree ferns or something. But
So I actually make a lot of juices, so I get a lot of pulp.
that'll be fine.
Pulp is fine
It's
because that's almost going to turn liquid as soon as it hits the bucket, I would think.
yeah. Because that's very fibrous. Yeah. Don't put extra water into it. So if it was liquid or something like that, your fibres won't
No,
be a problem.
it's the actual pulp because
Yeah.
the juice comes out.
Yeah.
And then you're
Yeah.
left with the pulp.
So just scatter it and then put a layer of the seed on top of it. The other thing that we did do was for the Bunyip Festival, because we were trying to raise money for here, Tony decided he was going to make Japanese pancakes at the Bunyip Festival one year. So, and we thought that would be very successful. So we had this great big vat of cabbage that he'd cut up and mushrooms and
Yummy.
I can't remember what else we put in it, but there was some pork as well, and we didn't put that in to begin with until we were cooking it, some pork.
Yeah.
And anyway, then the idea was make the pancakes, so it's okonomiyaki if you've ever had them.
Yummy.
So, and they are yummy. And but at the end of the day, there was still this great big vat of stuff left over. And people who know me well kept saying, Anne, you can't reuse that. You know, it's been out all day. You can't do anything with it. So what I did was I actually laid it in the bucket.
Including the pork.
The pork wasn't, well, the pork probably was in it, and I included the pork. Whatever was in the bucket, I laid it here. And so then I sort of put it aside, and we went off for holidays, and then came back, and I had to talk at a Rotary night, and sort of just picked up the bucket and sort of didn't really know what I was going to end up seeing, to be honest. And anyway, so the same sort of deal. I put my hand in, and it was, you know, still fine. It was sort of a month later and fine, and then decanted it during the meeting, and I got almost 2 litres of fluid out of it.
Wow.
So it was just a matter of all the different things that you just sort of don't know what to do with, and
That's cool.
yeah.
Well, I'm going to definitely get one, but I've got to wait till I get back in my house
Well,
because
that's okay.
I've got nowhere to put it.
That's okay.
But I definitely want one. I'll stick one in the garage.
That's okay.
Mm.
That's okay.
Yeah. I don't move back till September, so I'll keep in touch.
Hopefully
because I think
we'll have
that's-
plenty of buckets. I've had them on order since before Christmas, and I should have taken the ones that they offered me just before Christmas, but we were about to close, and I said, no,
Let's
you
see
know,
how
I'll get them
long.
after Christmas, and I shouldn't have done that.
I just think that shape's going to
I've only got these ones at the
Yeah,
moment.
I've
The
got
other ones
some.
are on their way, but they keep telling me that.
Yeah.
And
I think
I'm
that
afraid
shape's going to be
they're
better.
really on their way.
So you've got yours?
I've got one. I've got
Yeah.
it from there.
Okay.
I just started 4 weeks ago. I think I
So
bought it.
now started.
Yeah, I will. Thursday. I'm doing all these things on Thursday.
Oh, that's good.
I've got one other question.
Okay.
That's totally out. Salami making class, is that still happening in June?
On the 22nd of June.
Alright, I'm gonna start.
So it's a Sunday, I think.
I'll look at it and I'll have a look if I find it. Have you got it already in one of the mags?
So it was just in the last magazine, just a picture of Agatha and
That's in June, salami making class.
Yeah.
I have to be there.
One for me, none for them. 2 for me, none for them.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a flyer up and I'll put it up at work and a
Okay.
couple of places.
Oh,
if that's alright.
so yeah.
So how often?
No, there she is.
So it comes out monthly. So we're just doing the June one now. And I need people who are interested in sci-fi. So if we know anybody interested in science fiction, great. I'm coming, George, I promise.
Not me, no. Thanks for that, eh?
That's okay, so that's alright. So just up to you. That's two.
Go and have dinner.
That's good, me too. Okay. I'm going to make some coffees first. So if anybody wants a coffee, I'll make you coffee too.
Not for me.
No,
Thank you, Anne.
that's okay, thank you.
That's fantastic. So your number's in here, I gather?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, so it's on the inside cover.
All wrong.
Alright, well thank you for coming.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, that's excellent. Oh,
Yep.
I reckon it's going to be.
And
So
I'll
I've
see
had my worm farm for like 2 years.
Yep.
And
Which is
the
the
worms
bigger
are so dear, and
Oh.
I'm thinking if I stuff it up,
Yeah.
I just grab some worms and that's it.
yeah.